Information, inspiration, motivation. You're now listening to the Going North podcast, where you're going to get all three of those things and more. I'm your host, author, speaker, and book enthusiast, Dom Brightman. And every week, we're going to be hearing from an author who's going to share their expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, we have, you guessed it, another author, but not just any author. This author right here is a best-selling author of 17 books. 17. You heard that right. And this wonderful gentleman right here is one heck of a powerhouse of a guest because he has a boatload of health and wellness tips to help you advance yourself into new heights never thought possible with this wonderful ageless living lifestyle. And this wonderful gentleman right here, chronologically, at least according to his website, he's chronologically 75, but he has the fitness age of 34, which is freaking amazing. So I know you folks at home are looking forward to hearing more of what this wonderful gentleman has to say. And you're probably wondering, who do I have? I have the one, the only, Rico Caveglia. How are you today, sir?
Well, after that introduction, I'm doing really good. Thank you.
Sweet, my pleasure indeed. When I first saw your email and your pitch for the podcast, I was really impressed because, like, ageless living lifestyle. I'm like, yo, this is perfect because that's something that everybody cares about, whether they know it or not, believe it or not. And
Yeah.
Folks just want to at least extend their youth as long as possible, stay healthy, fit, as long as they can on the earth, because it's a lot better than being in an old folks home once you get to a certain age.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's no need to be in an old folks home at all.
That's right. So, mind telling us a bit about yourself, because I'm pretty sure I missed some things with the introduction.
Okay. Well, I actually moved to San Diego in 1980, and I was looking for something new to do. And I just happened to meet one of the first personal trainers here in San Diego. And so he needed some help. So we opened up what I think was the first really modern personal training studio here in San Diego. And that's 1981. And so I just, realized, that, you learn how to take care of your own physical body and then you can help other people and get paid for it. I thought this was a pretty good thing. And as I progress, you begin to learn about not only fitness but in nutrition, and then what really got me going was we start to learn the psychology and all about our mental, emotional states, and we know now that what manifests in our physical bodies begins in our mental, emotional state. So I began studying all these things, and then in the year. I think it was like the late 90s when I first found out that science is now telling us that our genetic potential is to stay healthy to 125. So our lifespan can actually be 125, but yet, we know in America our life expectancy is only about 80. So I said, wait a minute here, that means most people are missing out on up to 45 years of good living, and I didn't want to do that, so I started researching to see why this is happening. And, of course, we know the main reason is our unhealthy lifestyles. Even the conservative AMA, the American Medical Association, will now say that up to 80% of all degenerative diseases, which are killing most people like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, are preventable with a healthy lifestyle. So we know that's a fact, and we know that our genes only play a small role in how healthy and how long we're going to live. So when I found that out, that's how I began to develop what I call the ageless living lifestyle, and it's a complete mind, body, and spiritual wellness system. It's proven strategies. I've been working with people for 37 years, and so I know what works. I've learned in that time working with all these people and what factors cause a person to prematurely age. But then I was able to discover and develop, strategies and techniques, that not only can prevent a lot of this premature aging, but it can reverse it as well. So that's what the ageless living lifestyle is all about. The whole goal is to learn people that you don't have to get old. I want to tell you this. The reason I say, whenever I tell people about my saying, be bold, never be old, and I have it on my business card, and I get such a good reaction, Dom. People always say, oh, yeah, I like that, but I don't think they believe it, so I have to tell them what I mean by that. It sounds good, but I don't think they believe it because most people are getting old, right? Yeah,
it's true.
Around us, everybody's getting old. So here's the difference. It's kind of funny. I'm the only one I've ever heard actually say this, but see, aging. There's a big difference between aging and being old, because the definition, right?
Right, there is.
Aging, to become fully mature, to reach your full potential, like fine aged wine. That's good. That's what we're here for, to age. But old's another story. Old means to be worn out, used up, unexcited about your life, unable to care for yourself. And old is just the state of your mind, the state of your body, and those are both choices, how you choose to take care of your mind and your body. So no matter what your age is, you never have to be old, We're going to age, obviously. You're not going to be able to stay quite as strong and energetic when you're 20, when you're 70 as you're 20, but that's all right. You don't need to be, but you don't never have to be old. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, and I love it too, because it's all about the mindset and, of course, the way you treat your body throughout your lifetime. And I really agree with that. And I might have to start just using that in conversation or talking with folks who are probably double my age, if not triple my age. Like, no, you're not old, you're just aging. There's a huge difference. Absolutely different. I got to tell you a funny thing. To me, this is what really got me going on this thing of not being old was when I turned 60, I started getting these letters, from insurance companies, trying to sell me long-term care insurance, right? Long-term care insurance. I'm going, what? Are you kidding me? And then I started getting some letters from funeral homes. Well, you better plan. You don't want to leave all this burden to your loved ones. You better plan your funeral. I'm going, oh my God. So then I realized, no wonder people just, they get hammered with this kind of stuff, and they buy into it, and they begin to feel like they're old, and they think they should do this. And I just go, oh man, I got to really show people that you don't have to get old, man. Amen to that, because that's just happening just about every day that we live. Someone out there may have just passed away today, way beyond their years, whether it was 6 years or 60 years, and they still had some gas in the tank to actually crank out something in the world and to leave their essence in the world more than when they originally started. And it's true, and that kind of speaks to, I guess, in Think and Grow Rich, where it talks about the power of autosuggestion. When you turn a certain age, 60, and you get these letters from funeral homes and insurance companies, it's like, oh, man, I got to start thinking about this stuff. I mean, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, don't let it beat you down like that.
Well, it's my belief you don't have to start thinking about those things at all, because, as you know, our beliefs and our thoughts and what we're saying about our life, that's what we created in our life, So, well, I'm not saying that for sure, the long-term health, healthcare insurance, that's totally bogus. As most insurances are anyway. It's just like, but obviously, eventually we are going to pass on, and maybe you should consider something about your funeral. I don't know. I don't ever think about that myself, but it's really just all about mindset. It's being mindful of what we're, what I just came up with just recently. The big term about fake news these days. Well, to me, the biggest fake news is not about what's going on in the government and the politics and media and all that. The biggest fake news is all the things that we're buying into, just like this, like, oh, it's just natural. We're going to get old and sick and probably need health care and long-term care, and we're going to die about 80. And so that's the real fake news, and all the limiting beliefs that we have in our life about what's possible and that's the fake news that we really need to be concerned about and be aware of that and not buy into that. That's the fake news that I want to help people with.
Yeah, that's true indeed, especially with all the diseases and just the increased amount of cancer that's out there right nowadays. So I want to share a couple tips that you may have picked up over the years that have really helped you to become the bold Rico that you are today.
Well, okay. The first one is, again, this is what we've been talking about is don't buy into that. That you're going to get old and sick and die at around 80. Like most people are. So you got to change your belief. You got to change the story that's running in your mind. So that's the first part, is to believe that you can get and stay healthy and fairly fit and energetic all of your life. Why not? Why believe anything less than that? Because see, if you do believe less than that, then that's what you're going to create. But it's my belief that I don't know how long I'm going to live. I want to live a lot longer. But as long as I'm alive, I believe that I can stay healthy and fit and energetic. Obviously, again, not like when I'm 20 or 30, but I can stay, plenty healthy and energetic. And so you have to believe that first. So that's the first starting point with even learning my ageless living lifestyle is to believe that, to believe that you can, and you can. We're so much, Don. We're so much more powerful than most people, than we understand, that we even know. Because I believe that we're all, we're truly spiritual beings here on this planet for a while with this physical body, and we're here for a purpose. And our physical body is our gift. It's our gift, and it's a gift, that allows us to have these experiences and learn and grow and make a big positive contribution on this planet. So I think when you get that concept in your mind and realize that, then I think that's really going to help people to take better care of their health and make it a bigger priority. Because I think there's kind of a disconnect between your spiritual self and your physical self, and they're actually one and the same. So I think that's what I try and teach people, and so I hope that will help people to realize, that it's kind of our responsibility and our obligation to take the best care we can of our physical body. And yet somehow we've gotten so off track that most people take better care of their car than they do themselves. So, isn't that right?
Yeah, it's true.
I like to say, do you consider yourself a Ferrari or a Yugo? Remember those cars called the Yugo?
Yugos.
It was a Yugo. I think it was like probably in the 70s or 80s. It was I guess this came from Yugoslavia. It was a real small little car, only cost a couple $1,000, and it just like fell apart in about 2 years, and it was gone. So that's like, you want to be a Ferrari or a Yugo, So you got to give yourself the best. Okay, so here's the thing about, if you want to consider yourself a Ferrari, then you got to give it. If you had a Ferrari, you'd give it the best fuel you could, right? The highest test fuel. So what about your body? You got to feed yourself the best quality, highest organic whole foods that's possible. And when I tell people, some people, when you tell them that you need to eat organic, they say, well, it costs more. And I look at them like, well, so what? So this is your body you're talking about. You want to put the highest quality, best nutritious fuel you can in your body. I have this doctor friend that when he tells people, when they say to him that organic costs too much, he says, "Have you ever noticed the price of cancer lately?"
Especially with chemo, you lose your hair too.
Oh my God. That's right. That's right. You got to believe you can do it. You got to begin to realize, okay, we're flooded with all the latest diets, right? There's all these diets out there, all of these diets, and some, they have some benefit and they have some good points, but the biggest thing is they're usually one extreme to the other, and you can't stick with it, and they're just hard to stick with, and sometimes they have some detrimental points as well. So I came up with the diet to end all diets, and it's called the 7-word diet. You want to know what that is?
Oh, yes, sir, I do.
It's called eat a variety of whole organic foods. Does that make sense or what? If you just ate, if you made your diet primarily of a variety of organic whole foods, the vast majority of ailments would just go away, and that's it. So Now, we're all biochemically unique, and people have different allergies, and what may be a really healthy food for one person can almost kill somebody else, like nuts, for some people. So, but if you just ate primarily whole organic foods, and then I do recommend, you get with a qualified, like a naturopathic doctor or integrative medicine doctor or a good nutritionist who can help you to determine, what other foods may or may not be good for you, because we're all unique. We need to know that, we need to figure that out. But if you just started eating mostly whole foods and get rid of all the junk food and all the processed, now I'm saying I don't believe in being an extremist at either, I'm not saying you should never eat some ice cream or never eat a hamburger or something like that, but if you primarily eat plant-based, I believe in eating animal products, if they're raised healthy and they're not a bunch of hormones and chemicals and all those sort of things. But if you just eat primarily whole organic foods, you'd be so amazed how much more energy, how more health you would have. Okay, it's always I don't know why we're kind of a nation of extremes, aren't we? We always want to go to extremes on things, right? So most people aren't doing anything, and then a lot of people are doing way too much, and they're actually aging themselves and beating themselves up. They're staying in the gym hours and doing all this stuff which you don't need to do. So here's the thing: you just need to get as fit as you need to be to suit your lifestyle. I hate to see people not be fit enough and have enough energy to do some things that they really want to do. So you just have to determine how much energy, how fit do you want to be, and then it really helps to get a good qualified personal trainer to get you on the right track so you're doing the right things that aren't going to injure you. There's something that's safe and you can keep doing it for the rest of your life. So that's what I teach. I call it functional fitness. Just doing things that will help you to function better in your daily life. And you don't need any equipment to do that. And you don't need to be in the gym for hours. You need to work out. Well, I believe you need to do some form of aerobic activity every day. You need a couple times a week. You need to do some strength training, keep your muscles toned up. And then flexibility. That's the big one for not being old. A true measure of your age is how good is your posture. How good is and how well you can move. How flexible are you? That's a true measure of your age. So you got to stretch every day.
Some good tips indeed. Good tips indeed. Any stretches you recommend for those to increase their posture, especially when we're in an age now where folks are most likely stuck in their cubicles and there's rarely jobs where you're standing up, and if you're standing up, you're probably slouching over. So any particular stretches you recommend for those who want to improve their posture?
Well, I actually came up with a basic, 7 stretches that you can do. You know what I recommend? Because all the years I've been working with, with fitness clients, I can get them to do more aerobic activities and more strength. But then I always ask them, did you do your stretches? And they go, oh, I kind of forgot. And that's really the most important thing for aging, is to stay flexible. So, I can't. It's hard to say what stretches you should do, just like here in the conversation. But I really recommend you, take a yoga class. Yoga is so good, or take a stretch class and learn it. Or I have my new online wellness club. It's called the Be Bold, Never Be Old Wellness Club. And in there, one of the trainings, so the members of my club, you have me as your personal trainer, and you get personal training videos. So I have some videos in there to show you the best stretches to do and all that sort of thing. But the main thing is just you got to get. So here's a really good tip. So I know a lot of people have trouble just making the time for it. So just take like 15 minutes before you go to bed, get down on the floor, and do some basic stretches. And not only does that will help you to stay flexible, but also it helps you to relax and slow down and relax so you can sleep better. As you know, too, sleeping, people have such problems sleeping these days is a big problem, So that's a tip that will not only help you to stay flexible, but it'll help you to relax and sleep better as well.
True indeed. Remember times when I would neglect sleep and I'd pay for it later, especially when we're gone for weeks on end. It would really show up. So you're very right about that. Got to get sleep too, along with the stretching.
Yeah, let me tell you about some things about sleep. Would that be good?
Of course.
Okay. We now know that they've done cognitive studies on people, giving them cognitive tests after a certain amount of sleep, and what they found was, anytime you got less than 7 hours of sleep, you didn't perform so well on the cognitive test. and in each hour less that you got, you did worse. So if you got 6 hours, you performed a certain way. If you did 5 hours, you got less. So there's a lot of people out there who think, they say, oh, no, I don't need to sleep. I can get by on 4 or 5 hours. They're just fooling themselves. They're not really functioning. Their brain's not functioning optimally. And here's a big one about sleep now. What we just discovered is that for brain health, how dementia and Alzheimer's is a big thing that's going on these days. So they've now discovered that actually when we sleep, our brain also has to be rejuvenated and get rid of waste products. So there's some waste product proteins, amyloids, that build up on our neurons in our brain, and there's a system called I think it's I might have it wrong now, glycation. But anyway, a system in our brain when we sleep that actually detoxifies our brain and gets rid of those, less like plaque on your brain, and actually gets rid of that. And they've had they know now that people who do have dementia and Alzheimer's have a lot of that protein build up in their brain. So that's a big one so again, if you don't get at least 7 hours of sleep, your body's not only able to repair and rejuvenate itself in the physical body, but also in your brain as well. So that's another big reason why it's so important to get your sleep on a regular basis.
Amen to that indeed. One thing I was actually curious about was the chronological age to the fit age. So how do you calculate that?
Yeah, okay. Well, I have to admit, it's a little bit misleading because when you calculate your fitness test, there was actually I think they still have a website called Fitness Age, where they have this computerized test where you can test and find out what your fitness age is. And it's basically just about 5 of the basic fitness tests that we would give, like some flexibility, like sit and reach. We do like a basic step test, how many push-ups you can do in a minute, how many sit-ups you can do in a minute, and then they measure your body fat. And that company, Fitness Age, was actually headquartered here in San Diego back in the 90s. And I actually met with them, and I became their corporate executive trainer. And so they had it all set up where they had these kiosks that were going to go in all the gyms are all around the United States, so they could test people's fitness age compared to your chronological age. So it's going to be a big selling point for gyms. Like if you came in there and you were 40 and you took the test and your fitness age came out to be 50, then they could say, hey, you better join the gym. We're going to get you down, right? But I think that they just kind of got overextended, and then I think a lot of the instructors of the gyms, they just didn't really promote it very well, so they never really got it off the ground. But anyway, for me, that's all the things I've been doing all these years, doing push-ups and sit-ups, and I've always been lean and have a good low body fat, and so all those things. So it's not that hard for me to do well on that test. You got to be fit, in order to do that. And then, of course, energy. I mean, how you can measure energy is a little bit of a thing, but people always wonder how I have so much energy. And it's just because, here's another of my big sayings, here's what I always tell my clients. If you do it every day, you can do it every day, no matter what your age. Does that make sense or not, doesn't it?
It's true. It's very true indeed. It kind of reminds me of kind of like how martial artists, they do certain forms, some of their katas over and over again. It's to a point where they do it so much that it just becomes second nature, almost a habit to them. And even when they're in their 70s and even 90s, those aging martial arts masters, they can still do those forms that they've been doing for years because they've been doing it every day.
Right. That's a really good example of that. But it's like, see, every day, I get a lot of breathing in. I drink, stay hydrated. I eat a lot of whole organic foods. I exercise every day. I meditate, and I have the intention that I'm going to be healthy and energetic. And so, as long as you're doing that, you can do it. That makes a lot of sense to me. For you, I have a question for you. Is the name of your podcast Going North? Is that as opposed to the saying of things are going south, which means things aren't going well? Things are going south, right? So going north means things are going good? Is that what it means?
Yes, sir.
All right. I was just thinking about that before I came on your show. I was thinking about going north. Let me see. That's good. I like that.
Thank you indeed. Funny enough, it started off as a random joke reply to a colleague. She was like, "Hey, how's it going?" I was like, "Oh, it's going north."
Yeah, as opposed to going south. That's right. That's good.
Yes, sir, indeed. So, in speaking of south, if we're going to go back chronologically, but actually, well, it's not really going south, but if you're 25, but in the current year of 2018, what advice would you give to yourself?
Well, I would change a lot of things for sure. I wouldn't beat myself up so much as I did. When we're young, we think we're invincible, and we do a lot of things, lifting too much stuff and hurt our backs, and still a lot of crazy stuff that beat ourselves up. So I would definitely be a little more careful with not beating myself up, because you're going to pay for it. No matter how well you take care of yourself, with fitness and nutrition, if you injure yourself, you injure your joints and things when you're younger, you're going to pay for it. Like playing football. I tore my knee playing football, and I was able to rehab it pretty good when I got older, but it's still, it's still there. I really can't. I'm not really a runner. I do more cycling and swimming and those sort of things. I can't really run now. I got pretty much bone on bone. So you really want to think about in the long term and see if you're a 25-year-old today, and if you begin to make your health a priority, you're going to live for sure another 100 years. So you got to kind of plan for that, and don't just go out and beat yourself up and injure yourself, because then you're going to pay for it for a long time. So if you start now to, exercise sensibly, regularly, and eating healthy foods and take care of your health, man, you can have an amazing, energetic, long life.
Very true indeed. Very true indeed. Parents used to say the same thing to me. It's like, hey, make sure you don't get injured too much, because you're going to feel it later.
You're going to feel it. Yeah, be a little bit more careful. I've always been a kind of a risk taker. I mean, you want to have fun and do stuff, but just be a little bit more sensible and don't do really stupid things, that you'll regret later, which I've learned from experience.
Awesome indeed. Well, for those who want to keep in contact with you and embrace their inner boldness as they continue to age and not grow old, how can we keep in touch with you?
Yeah, well, that's what I really have going now. I really want people to be able to experience my ageless living lifestyle easily. And so that's why I created my new online wellness club. It's called Be Bold, Never Be Old. You can find it at BeBoldNeverBeOld.com. And right now we have a special. You can join for the first month for only $1 just to check it out, and you're going to get 4 personal training videos from me. So I think that's probably the best value for $1 on the planet right now. And then if you like it, it's only like $20 a month. I make it real simple, real easy to stay in there, and so you'll have me as your personal trainer. You're going to learn all my strategies for dealing with reducing stress and permanent weight loss, and how to have energy, and how to eat healthy, and how to stick with a healthy diet and exercise program. And then you'll in the weeks following, you'll learn how to develop your own ageless living lifestyle wellness system. So I really love people to come in and check it out. Only $1 at BeBoldNeverBeOld.com.
Woohoo! Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. There's no such thing as never having too much good health.
Yes, absolutely right. I mean, that's the most important thing. If you're not feeling good and you don't have good health and have energy, I mean, life's, what good is it? You really can't enjoy yourself, So it's got to be, that's my message, you got to realize to make your health a big priority, and then everything else will fall in line, So, and also, everybody wants to be highly successful in everything in your life, right? Everybody wants to be, nobody would disagree with that. And so in order to be highly successful in any aspect of your life, it takes a lot of energy. No question about it. So make creating good health and lots of energy a big priority, and you will be really glad you did. And so, my last thing I want to say is I have a new mantra. It says, relax and just love yourself more, because the more you love yourself in your life, the better your life gets.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Because if you love yourself, you'll take care of yourself.
Right. That's exactly right.
Woo! So go ahead and check out that wonderful site. Go ahead and sign up for the program. Get the best bang for your buck, and then you get to bang out some more productivity in your life with more exercise goodness.
Thanks a bunch for your listening ears on the Going North podcast. I hope you really, really enjoyed that episode. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to share it with your friends and family, especially those who love podcasts and love listening to some inspiration and motivation.